that we never think about good of others, right? In karma yoga, we learn how to be of service to others. I'm an introvert, and talking like this in public is not my cup of tea. But I knew that I had to come out and write this story because this story can help others as well. So I did my part. This is my karma yoga. Then I talk about bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is kind of, when you completely give all of yourself to God, when you completely leave your doership, that I am this, and bhakti yoga, people think that it's only about emotions. No, it is not. It is very logical when you see that everything we do is actually done through us. Even our thoughts right now, that is coming to our mind, it is coming like, do you know what is your next thought gonna be? What your next thought gonna be? No, right? It comes to us, isn't it? Right? So how do we say we are the thinker, we are the doer? How can we say that? Right? We have to understand that a divine power, a higher power is working through us, right? That is bhakti yoga, when you give all yourself to God. I have a very nice story to share, if I can.
Yes.
Okay. So there were two travelers, okay? They were both in the train, and one traveler was very relaxed. He had all his luggages down, and the other traveler was really struggling with all his luggage. He had it on his head, He was trying to balance it while, they were going from Delhi to Mumbai. And he was trying to balance all his luggage. The second traveler looked at him and he was like, why don't you put everything down? Anyway, this train is carrying us to the destination. It will carry your luggage as well, right? But the other one was, no, I will not put my luggage down. If I put my luggage down, it might, I don't know what he was thinking. Same thing with us, right? What we are doing is, look, our blood is, running through our veins, right? We digest the food, right? The God energy in us helps us do all that. But we think we are doing it.
If I may interrupt at this point.
Yes.
What happens to those who don't believe, atheists, they don't believe in God, and probably, I don't know, maybe they don't believe in a higher force. So how does this all work for such people?
Yes, then we have a path of Gyan Yoga, the path of intellect. Somebody who has a sharp mind, but for that, we have to have a very, very sharp mind to understand the finer aspect of Brahman, awareness itself. So,
I mean, how would you address that for people like that? I mean, they also live, they thrive, they do all that they do.
Yes.
And is it like maybe they have an innate sense of non-attachment to what they are doing, or they just keep doing what they have to do? So what really gives them that compared to those who say we believe in God and we surrender to God? So how do you
It's a very logical way of basically finding out that, we are not what we can call this. Anything we call this is not us. The body, we see, we experience, so we are not it. The mind, we experience, so we are not it. Even we have like 3 states of our being, right? First is the waking state. Then second is the dream state. And third is the deep sleep state. What happens in deep sleep state? Is our physical body there? Is our mind there, thinking mind there during our deep sleep state? Then how can we be our body and mind? It's a logical way of thinking. God is giving us with all these 3 things, all these 3 states. We have to basically become very sensitive and very observant. We have to be a real intellectual to figure this out.
If you don't mind, I'd like to get back to this question about your personal journey and the losses that you suffered. Your mother, who was like an anchor for you, and your brother. So these two things, how did they impact, the way forward for you?
Sure. So let me just finish it. What were the 4 yogas I was talking about?
Okay,
Sure. I'm going to wrap that up. So first yoga is karma yoga. Second one is bhakti yoga. Third one is jnana yoga. Fourth one is raj yoga, where we work with our mind, okay? Where we develop the focus. So what karma yoga does? Karma yoga does help us by purifying our physical body, because we get involved in a lot of selfless service. Second, yoga helps us to have emotional catharsis. We offer everything to God, to the divine. Third, yoga helps us sharpen, that is Gyan Yoga, helps us sharpen our intellect. Fourth is Dhyan Yoga. Dhyan Yoga helps us sharpen our focus. That improves the quality of our daily life, actually. So that's how I talk about the solution. And then moving on, after you practice all this, the purification process ends in you. And you get an insight of the awareness that you are, very much apart from the body and mind. And once you have the insight, you move on to stabilizing in the insight, being a sthit pragya. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about it in great detail, how to be a sthit pragya, how to stabilize in that wisdom. And you can do anything and everything from that stabilized wisdom, where you are completely centered as awareness. Okay?
Right, yeah.
And then the last chapter is the result. What happens? So we discussed the problem, the solution, and stabilizing, and then the result. In result, I talk about how once we are established as awareness, we understand that we are not separate from anybody else. This sense of separateness is the main cause of our depression, our anxiety, our restlessness. Once we understand we are not separate from anybody else, we are one with everyone,
Yes.
then this deep sense of peace, deep sense of bliss that we have been searching for all our life actually dawns upon us. Okay? And that is when we experience the everlasting fulfillment that we have been searching for all our lives.
Yeah, so to get back to the question of how it impacted you, the loss of these two key factors in your life. So maybe you can just touch a little bit upon that.
Yes. So losing a loved one is not easy for anybody, right? And losing a mother is all the more difficult. I remember in 2002, when Mama came to drop me in NIFT, Chennai, right here, just a few kilometers from here. She was very proud of me because I cracked NIFT in the very first go without any help of any kind of tuition and anything. She was very proud of me. And she came and kissed me on my forehead. That was her way of showing how much she loves me and she cares and how much pride she has. And when she was leaving me over here in Chennai and going away, I didn't know that was the last time I was seeing her. So when she started leaving, I felt like crying naturally. And my father gestured me not to cry, because it should not impact my mom. And I was like, okay, I will be a strong girl and I wouldn't cry. But I didn't know that was the last time I was seeing my mother. And after my mother was gone, it was like my foundation was taken away from me. Up until then, everything I did for my mother to make her happy, to see a smile on her face, to bring her pride. And she was gone. I still remember how I would go to Nif's terrace and cry, howl, so that the pain could leave me. And then, again, the same thing got replayed in my life with unimaginable intensity again with my brother. And that too, the way we lost him.
Do you need a minute?
I'm fine. The way we lost him was so tragic, so very tragic. Still, we are looking for closure. All of us are still looking for closure, and we haven't found any. We cried for CBI so that they can come and do their investigation, so that we can find the answers. But they are delaying it. It's almost like the justice has been denied. And it's like an open wound that won't heal because we have not figured out what happened. What happened to our little brother.
So this grief, this pain that you're feeling has led you to a path. You were already spiritually inclined from childhood. So this has led to writing so much, getting so much out of you into this book. So this has actually brought some actually good results because it can help so many people deal with so many things if they read this book, isn't it?
And when I lost my brother, a lot of people, I started getting a lot of messages. A lot of people started reaching out to me and telling me how hurt they are, that they are also going through depression. And seeing their pain, I was like, spiritual tools are helping me. Can I do something for them?
Right.
And that was my journey of writing this book.
So all this has led us to the fact that we have to live in awareness. Why is it so important to live in awareness and understand that awareness is all?
Before we talk about why we should be aware every moment, we have to realize what awareness is to start with. So in Gyan Yoga, in Vedanta, we have many different ways of reaching to this realization that we are awareness. So there is a way of Drig Drishya Vivek, there is a way of Panch Kosh Vivek, and there is a way of Avastha Traya Vivek. What are these and why should we discuss it? Right? Why is it important? In Drig Drishya Vivek, it is told that, okay, if I ask you guys one question, what is that one thing in you that has been constant in your life, throughout your life, that has been constant, one constant thing in your life that has not changed? Who can answer?
Faith in God.
That's so wonderful. Yes, that is definitely one of those. But when you were born as a newborn child, was the faith in God still intact then? Was it there? Did you know that there is something like God and I have faith in God? No. Anybody else? Any curiosity for life? That's again a very good answer. But tell me again, when you are in deep sleep, are you curious about life during that time? Let me see who can answer that. Identity and sense of being? Very good. Sense of being. Yes. That has been the only thing that has been constant in our life. The consciousness, the awareness that we are. It is throughout our life. In waking state, right now when we are talking, right? that awareness is there. In dream state, when we project a new world, completely a world out of our imagination, the awareness is there. And in deep sleep, when we let go of everything, right? When we let go of all our burdens, when we let go of this waking identity, the dream identity, awareness is there. You know why we can say that awareness is there? When we get up in the morning, we say that I slept like a log. There was something that knew that I was there, the awareness. We just have to realize that we are not this identity that we are playing in this life. We are not our thinking mind. We are the awareness behind it. This realization gives rise to such huge amount of peace, such huge amount of bliss, I cannot tell you. And that's what we have to realize. Just this understanding, just one shot to this, yeah, that's true. I am the awareness. How can I be anything different? Why do I keep identifying with this voice in my head? Why do I do that? It makes me suffer. I should not identify with that.
So when there is awareness, that means you are basically untouched by everything that goes on around you. Ideally, you're not supposed to be involved with anything, whether it's a feeling, emotion, or anything. You will do it, you will perform the act, but you will be detached from that whole process. Is that what it is, right?
Correct. Because then, as awareness, what would we want? As awareness, what would we want? Are we this identity trying to seek something? Maybe power, fame, knowledge, money, right? And what happens when we seek all these things? Do they really give us everlasting joy? One desire after other. And when we get to finishing one desire, acquiring one desire, fulfilling one desire, another desire rises in its place, isn't it so? We keep on moving from one desire to the other desire, and we feel like we are on this hamster wheel, not gonna stop, right? Why do we do that? Because we feel that all these things will bring us fulfillment, everlasting fulfillment, happiness that we are seeking for. Not gonna happen. Never gonna happen. When you fulfill one dream, the fear arises that I'm gonna lose it the next day, right? Or some other time, right? We do feel like that. There is a fear of maintaining whatever. Okay, I got this car today. I'm gonna maintain it. And there is amount of effort that requires, the maintenance of that requires. And then once we lose it, how much pain it brings us, right? That attachment, it brings us so much pain.
Correct.
Right? So there is no end to this desire. And the human beings we are, today if we get the whole of this earth, we'll want Mars. Right? Yeah.
So in this, in your spiritual journey, what were the breakthroughs that you had, that you have written about a lot of experiences in your book? So could you talk about that, your periods of isolation, and then the experiences that you have gone through, Vipassana, all of that? Can you just talk about all of that?
Sure. Yeah. So I have always been spiritual whole my life. I was in 4th grade when I would write in my diary that I am an Atma. I want to be one with Paramatma. And the sole purpose, the purpose of my life is moksha. And you know, I want to thank my mother, my family, my culture, India for that. Because it's actually embedded in the fabric of India that we easily get all these things downloaded in our system. Spirituality downloaded in our system. Faith downloaded in our system so easily. But, you know, after the death of my mother, I started asking the most important question in life. What is death? Why are we here? You know, have you ever seen that we see a lot of people dying around us and a lot of loved ones also dying around us? And we never ask this question ever, that this death gonna happen to me one day. And everything we have worked for this far in our lives, we're going to lose all of them. All of them, right? This subconscious fear is always there in our mind, always running and draining us. Anyway, the point being, I started asking these questions and I wanted to find the answers for these. In 2014, I got initiated in Krishna Mantra. And in 2019, once what happened, I was listening to this bhajan, Chhap tilak sab chheen re mose naina mein laike by Vinod Agarwal. And it stirred so many emotions in my heart where, I started asking God that I have been, doing your mantra for 5 years now. Why haven't you given me one glimpse of yours? Just one glimpse, God. How do you feel? You have just sent me. Okay, so I have always felt this sense of separation from God. It was as if that I was at 1.1 with God. And somehow he just sent me here. So I was just talking to God and trying to explain how hurt I am. And when I went to my meditation room and sat on my meditation chair, I felt this strong presence, powerful presence while I was in meditation. And I knew that it is not anything normal. It is not anything normal. And I didn't open my eyes because I felt if I open my eyes, that presence will go away. And I asked that presence to just sit. And I felt as if he was not sitting. So something told from inside that leave your meditation chair and move to the other side. And I did so. And then it was Krishna, by the way. And I felt Krishna sat on my meditation chair and he guided me into a beautiful, beautiful experience. I'll tell you guys about it. So he told me, okay, see from where this sense of I is arising in your body. Divide your body, okay, in different parts. See if the sense of I is arising here, here, here. Where is this sense of I arising from? Okay, if I ask you guys right now, do you exist? What would the answer be? You guys are not sure yet. Do you guys exist? Yes, we know it for a fact we exist, right? Even if we are locked in a dark room, right? We don't have to see our body to tell that I exist. We don't even have to refer to our mind to say that I exist. We just know there is sense of I amness in somewhere, the awareness that we are, right? He guided me to that. He told, figure out from where is this I rising from. And as I kind of started focusing, there was a point in my heart that I felt that sense of I is arising from in the body. And I focused on it. And something beautiful happened. There was this magnetic energy that rose in my body and absorbed me. It was this most beautiful light I have ever seen. It was white, golden light. It absorbed me. And the kind of peace and bliss I felt after that, every pore of my body was vibrating with that extreme joy, extreme bliss, unexplainable. I cannot even put it in words how it felt like. And I wanted to come out from that state and thank you, Krishna, for doing that, for making me experience something so beautiful and something so inherent to me. But then he told me, not even a flicker, stay there. And I don't know for how long I stayed there, but it was the most beautiful experience of my life. When I came out of that absorption, I tried to move my hand and say to myself, this is me, this is I. But there was no sense of egoic self after that. For 1 month, I stayed in that state. And I can tell you, I can tell you for a fact, for sure, that is what we are born for. That is what we are destined to do. That is the bliss that is for us. And it is not outside of us in externalities. It is within us. We just have to sit with ourselves to experience it.
That requires a lot of isolation, right? A lot of sitting with yourself, like the one that you had in California. Can you just briefly explain that process?
So this happened at my home, but there were many other breakthrough experiences. But one thing I would like to tell you guys, have you ever tried to be alone without any kind of distraction, without anybody else being there? Try that. That is the time when you will realize that how distracted we are, how much dependent we are on outside world, how much stimulation we need from the outside world. So I went for this solitary retreat to Ragged Point. It's called as Land of Calm Abiding. It's a Buddhist hermitage. I went there for a month and I did several of them afterwards. So in that, it's a 560 acres of land. And there are only 4 to 5 cabins. And you get one cabin to be in for 1 month. Okay? You don't get to see anybody. You are supposed to be alone, meditating all by yourself. You have no network there. So what happens is that there is nobody to remind you that you are this body mind. When there is nobody to talk to and there is nobody to remind you this body mind, you feel free. There is no burden of carrying this identity. And you can simply be absorbed in your real nature as awareness. So I will really urge you guys to experience something like this. Just go somewhere for 1 or 2 days. Just be without phone. Now with so much of media outpour and all, this has become so difficult in our lives to be without phone, right? And we need it. We really need it. Our mind is howling inside for this kind of silence, for this kind of quiet. So please do it. And then you realize that what we are looking for is inside us, not outside.
Yeah, I just want a little more details about that, how they would put up the red flags that when you need something.
Okay, so Land of Calm Abiding is 560 acres of deep forest, wilderness, okay? And you have to let the caretaker know that you are alive, you have not been eaten by animals or, things like that. So how do you do that? Because you cannot talk to them. So you have to put a red flag outside in a bin every Thursday and Sunday to show that you're alive. I mean, to let them know.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they, how did you get, like you have to sustain food and everything?
Oh, yeah. So you have to carry your food with you. You are supposed to cook there. And every 2 weeks, you can basically, if you need any food, if all your veggies and fruits have gotten over, you can write it down in a paper and put it in the bin outside every 2 weeks.
I'd like you to talk also about, there's a very interesting story about the yogi and that filming crew.
Yeah, okay. So look, once you have had a breakthrough, once you have known what your real self is, that you are pure awareness, you are not the body mind, you have to stabilize in that, okay? But to stabilize in that, you need to purify your vasanas. Okay, this body, what we have gotten, this physical body is vasana punj. What are vasanas, you'll ask me? Vasanas are samskaras. Samskaras we are carrying for lifetime together. So we have to purify those. And Ishputra. So there is a beautiful story here. Ishputra is a yogi who was walking in Himalayas barefoot. He only had one loincloth on his shoulder. And there was a TV9 reporter, Akshay, and the whole crew was dressed in like layers of jacket, right? And they were still kind of feeling the chill, right? But Ishputra was happily walking barefoot with one loincloth, and they were surprised, how is he doing that? You know what happens once you have purified your elements in your body? You have certain amount of control over your subconscious mind, the autonomic nervous system, which controls the body temperature, which controls the blood pressure, which controls the heart rate. Now, you know, our conscious mind is only 5%. It's the tip of the iceberg. 97% is subconscious mind. Right now, something in you is making your heart beat. Something in you is making the blood go through your vein, run through your vein. WC, RBCs being generated in your bloodstream. It's all happening without you knowing it. Who's doing that? That's your subconscious mind, right? And we have no control over our subconscious mind. But these yogis, with training, with practice, they do get that kind of control over their subconscious
so
mind.
The crew was very worried because they were going to do a telecast, and they were very worried that if for some reason something happened to this yogi, they were all going to be blamed for letting somebody just move to see. Nothing like that happened because they were not confident, but he was not bothered.
Yeah, he wasn't bothered. Look, actually the crew just went there in search of a yogi. They didn't know whom they'll find, and will they find even any yogi or not. They found this yogi in middle of nowhere.
How do we feel the guilt when we lose the people in our lives?
The guilt?
Yeah, the guilt.
You know, when we lose a loved one, it actually feels like it was because of some kind of fault on our part that we lost them. But you know, we have to understand one thing, that everything is predestined. If something has to happen, that will happen. And in a way, if you see, we are trying to take the ownership, the doership that somehow I was involved in doing. Something happened to, you know, our loved one, and it was me because of whom this happened. You know, I could have talked to him or her beforehand, right? And I could have maybe kind of done something to avoid the death. But it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. And you know what Krishna says? Krishna says nobody goes anywhere. It's almost like, you know, when your old clothes get torn away, you change it, right? You change into a new cloth. It's almost like that. Our loved one has not gone away anywhere. They are here. Their presence is here, and they will come back. They will come back in a new body, right? So we should not feel bad, and we should not feel guilty for sure.
I have a question here. Yeah. One thing I've noticed, the older you get, you start repenting a lot about what you have not done and what you could have done. Though in that situation, it wouldn't have struck you. How do you get over that?
Yes. So the older we get, we realize we could have done something in our lives which we were not able to do. But you know, again, as I told you, that everything that happens in our life is predestined. It's according, okay, so there are three kind of karmas, okay? One is sanchita karma, second one is prarabdha, third one is agamya. What is sanchit karma? We have taken several births, and in those births, whatever kind of karmas we did, it went in our bank of karmas, sanchit karma. Then from that bank, we took a few of those karma and came to this world. That is the prarabdha karma. That's what we are living right now. So everything is predestined according to our prarabdha karma. Ramana Maharishi beautifully told that the only free will we have is every moment we can be as awareness, or we can be this body mind, this egoic self, this identified self. That is the only free will we have. Other than that, everything is predestined. And you know, the prarabdha karma we come with, after we come with that, we engage in the world, right? And then we see someone else's car, then we see someone else's girlfriend or someone else's, success, and we feel, I also want to have that. So that has become your agamya karma. You want it, right? So it goes and adds to your sanchita karma. I'm telling you, till the find ourselves, we understand, we realize ourselves as the awareness, there is no everlasting fulfillment that we are searching for, the happiness we are looking for. And if we have not found that happiness, we will be generating samskaras after samskaras, and we will have all these expectations. Did that answer your question?
90%.
I'm sending you love.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here.